How has your personal Christmas list evolved as you've gotten older? So, like, what you ask for as an individual, how has that grown or changed?
What are you guys asking for?
I mean, I guess I'm getting a new pot. Like, literally, I was telling Colin a bit ago, we're both getting each other new Fitbits because our Fitbits crapped out at the same time, probably a corporate conspiracy.
Health.
And we're supposed to get a surprise gift, and I got a really thoughtful gift for my wife that I can't tell you what it is because she'll listen to this episode before then. And she just walked in the room and was like, I don't know what you want. What do you want? And I was like, it's supposed to be a surprise. And she was like, do you want something good or do you want a surprise crap? So I'm getting a new podcast mic, I guess, because that's where I am at 38. I need something to fuel my hobbies now.
Yeah, well, yeah, me and my wife don't usually do individual gifts, so we bought ourselves a nice new set of pans, so that's really exciting.
Ooh, what brands?
The Ninja pans, the Ninja ceramic coated. It's really a pleasure to cook with.
My mother-in-law was just talking about those and raving about them. No joke.
No way.
Yeah.
Not an ad, but man, those things are fantastic. Would recommend.
Maybe if they sponsor us, we'll start plugging it. Yeah.
Next episode, there's just pans hanging on the wall behind Colin. This has just happened to be where I put them.
Yeah, but did they like the pans?
Yeah, I do like the pans a lot. I'm so in on the ceramic coating. Like, call me ceramic coating Colin from here on out because that's what I'm.
Well done.
Yeah. We're bringing that nickname back. Perfect.
Yeah, that was my nickname in high school. So
that's right.
Joel, you couldn't possibly have that topped. What are you asking for Christmas?
I asked Kathy for a concertina.
What's concertina?
You know, like
the hold cutlery. What is that?
That's like the little squeeze box. You know, like pirates would use. I want to learn how to play sea shanties on a concertina. So that's where
like an accordion without the keys, like the little one.
It's just like it's buttons on the side, not keys, but like a couple buttons, and there's you still do chords and notes and stuff just with the buttons. So yeah.
Our listeners will know when you've mastered it when they turn on our podcast and our theme has changed to be played by the concertina.
Oh, that's a great idea. Great idea. Welcome to Stop Wasting Your Wine, a wine review podcast where we waste our wine so you don't have to. On this episode, we review
a red wine from Argentina.
Thank you so much for joining us once again on Stop Wasting Your Wine. We're so glad that you decided to come back and have a listen to today's episode. I am Joel, and as always, I am joined by two of the best, just the best darn gift wrappers that I know, Aaron and Colin. How are you guys?
Doing well. That's really nice of you to say. And, I don't know if I'm the best gift wrapper, but if you need a box packed, oh man, I can pack a really good box. You need something
a really important skill.
It is a really important skill.
Wait a minute. So you're legitimately talking about fitting lots of things into the space of
a box.
That's
correct.
Right. Okay.
That is my skill.
That's a cost-saving skill. That's important. Yeah. The more you can fit into one box, the better.
Sure.
That's right. And I will fit it in there safely and effectively, and you will get your package. I don't know about on time because that's beyond my control, but all in one piece.
Wow. So stop wasting your postage.
Lots of low-hanging fruit there. If we were a much saucier podcast that we would go after, but we are not. We take the high road at all times. So we're just
all times.
Accept
not
that.
Going to talk all about Colin's package.
I love it. How fast he can stuff it. All right. So
I have this weird thing where I can wrap half a gift to look really nice. Like I can do the wrapping paper on one side and then you turn it over and it looks like it was like mangled by a reindeer.
The junk side.
Like it's just
Yeah.
Just, I don't get the like really nice symmetrical folding that you see people do. No. Like you watch like a like a YouTube video and they just make it look very easy, and then I do it. My hand is like glued to the package, and I just can't escape.
Well, who has time for that? Who has time to sit there and make the fold so perfect? Well, yeah, I guess if like people were coming on my YouTube to watch me do it, maybe. But my Lord. And also, I know where this is going. It's just going to be ripped up, thrown on the floor, put in a trash bag. Why am I going to take all this time to make it look all perfect?
I agree.
I am really good at putting the wrapping paper in a trash bag on Christmas. That is my job. I sit there and I don't let it settle. It's immediately in the trash bag.
Total dad.
That's really good. Yeah, no, well, my kid likes to do that, so I put him in charge. He actually probably enjoys putting
him in the trash bag.
No, I don't put him in the trash bag. He likes putting the paper in the trash bag. He probably enjoys that.
Wine does not recommend putting children in any kind of trash bags.
I just imagine like an Oscar the Grouch style situation where he's just like grabbing things and pulling it in, like smack into his trash bag.
That'd be cute. I'd actually like to see that.
Adorable.
Oh god, absolutely adorable.
Yeah, this is going off the rails quick.
Let's get back to the task at hand here, gentlemen. Though I know the weight of the shopping and the preparing for the holidays is weighing on all of us. Let's take the next couple of minutes here and let's try a new wine. So, Aaron, I know you mentioned we were drinking a red wine from Argentina. Would you mind sharing some more detail about today's selection?
Absolutely. So today we are drinking a Malbec from producer Catena. As I said, this is an Argentinian wine, and it has an ABV of 13.5%. We got this for around $18, and this is the 2020.
2020. Hindsight is 2020. Colin, you...
Great year. Nothing went wrong that year at all. Just good wine, good vibes.
Oh, boy. Colin, you picked this wine. Please tell us why.
Yeah. So
why are you bringing us back to 2020?
Why? Nobody wants to go back there. No, but for why? What's up?
This was not so much a pick based on the year, but more so we talk about how much we don't like the layer cake Malbec, which is also from Argentina.
Yes, we do.
Do we?
A lot. We do.
We talk about that. We all three of us agree that is not a good wine.
Whose wine? Whose pick was that? I forget.
Some guy showed up. He brought that. I thought it was nice. He left. I killed him.
Did Jeeves suggest that one?
Yeah, that was a Jeeves one. Colin, why'd you pick this new one?
Yeah, so we talk about how much we don't like that one all the time, but we've never really tried to find a good replacement.
Wait, Colin, what is over your shoulder right now? What is that wine?
It's right there.
It's displayed right above your head in the video. Is that layer cake I see?
It is actually a bottle of layer cake.
Saved for a special occasion?
Colin secretly loves layer cake.
No, I don't. I really don't. What happened that episode was we were trying to find the right vintage, and I bought the wrong vintage, so I actually had to go out and buy another bottle of layer cake, which is
so awful. Much layer cake in your life.
It's sat up on my wine contraption, which
at a point of respect.
Yeah,
a place of honor.
No, that's where I put my not great wine.
So go on. You've been trying to tell us why you picked this wine for 10 minutes now. Sorry.
Yeah, so we haven't really tried to find a replacement for that wine. So this wine is a Malbec from Argentina, from Mendoza, I believe. Layer cake. I can actually look.
Hi.
Also from Mendoza. This one's a little bit more expensive. I know the layer cake's around $13. This one's closer to 18. But based on my other options that I had in the $14 range, I was more interested in trying this one. So price-wise, it's not a one-to-one comparison, but hopefully, and we've beaten this dead horse quite a bit, a little bit more money will yield a much better wine. So we'll see.
While still spending like a very reasonable amount of money for,
yes.
And so that's like the goal, right? We're like, you don't have to go out and spend $40 for a good bottle of wine. Here's an $18 bottle of wine that we're hoping that if you had the opportunity to grab layer cake, or possibly this one, we still have to test it out and see if we like it.
That's true. This might be terrible.
It could be. But if not, it's, an opportunity to learn a little something and maybe make a slightly better choice without breaking the bank.
That's right. So that's what I was hoping to do with this one.
I love it. We should probably mention before we even get into it that Mr. James Suckling did rate the man himself did rate this wine 91 points. Before we give it a try, Colin, please teach us something.
This is the only thing you will learn.
Just before we start learning, I just want to say James Suckling's 91 points had no influence on me picking this one. I actually didn't know he rated this one until I was in the store looking at it. So I just want to let people know I'm not a James Suckling stan or anything like that. So this week, I wanted to learn a little bit more about Malbec. Last week, we learned a little bit more about Sauvignon Blanc, and I kind of liked learning about the grape and then being able to taste it, especially when we covered the flavor notes. So that was something that I really enjoyed. So I figured we could do that again. So Malbec is famously from France, a part of the Bordeaux blend, and it's always kind of been a blending grape. It's never really been the star of the show in France. Yeah, I know. Sad, right?
Not bad for Malbec.
And actually was falling out of favor in Bordeaux because it had a problem with pests, like the vines itself. So it was not as hardy as some of the other Bordeaux varietals. So for a while there, it was kind of on the out and out until Argentina, which is where this wine is from, came along and kind of saved it. So that's a little backstory on Malbec. Places you can find it in the Old World. Like I mentioned, almost exclusively France. Bordeaux, it's actually come back a bit, still used mainly as a blender. And then the Loire Valley does make some varietal Malbec. So if you're interested in a Malbec from France and you want it to just be Malbec, the Loire Valley is a good place to check it out. And then in the New World, you have Argentina and Mendoza, where this wine is from, where Layer Cake was from, is by far the most famous appellation in Argentina. You can also find it in the USA. We grow a little bit here in California, Washington, and Oregon. You can find a little bit in Chile, South Africa, and then they grow a little bit in Australia and New Zealand. And then when it comes to tasting notes, Malbec's usually a pretty big wine, usually, and by big I mean intense and bold. You get a lot of flavor. Can be very high alcohol, and that's just based on the grape. And you usually get tasting notes of darker fruits, blackberry, plum, and black cherry. But then you can also get a lot of non-fruit notes like cola and coffee, maybe a little bit of leather or tobacco. And then Malbec is almost always oaked, but there are some producers in Argentina who are making an unoaked version, but it's more experimental than it is anything else at the moment. So that's kind of the primer on Malbec, and that's what I got.
Can I share a anecdotal note about Malbec? And Colin, you may know something about this, so I'd love to know if you know. I recalled at some point learning that the reason it was called Malbec was from the French term malbouche, bad mouth. And they called it that because French winemakers thought it was terrible. So they kind of nicknamed it the Malbec, thought it was awful, and then it kind of like took off elsewhere. So I wanted to...
It's going to be my new nickname for you.
Malbec, baby. That's kind of funny.
No, Malbouche.
Oh, Malbouche.
Some my little Malbouche.
For some reason, that's like a little bit more sophisticated, and I dig it. So I had the research department go and take a look to see if I could find anything on that, or if they could find anything on this. And you know what's funny? Two things came back. That explanation came back, and then there was another one that said that it got its name from a Hungarian peasant with the last name of Malbec who spread the grapes around Europe. So...
Oh, wow. And being our Hungarian delegation, the second one must really excite you.
It does.
I feel like you made that up just to get Hungary on the map with your wines somehow. Because we haven't had a lot of Hungarian wines coming our way.
You know what? Hungarian wine's pretty awful for the most part. Maybe I'll try to find a good Hungarian wine sometime. They're all like super, super, super sweet. Yeah, I don't know. So I wonder, I didn't know, Colin, if you know anything about that. And I wonder which one is true. Or if either of them is true.
I don't know. Yeah, they could both be wrong. Yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't know. That's interesting. Both of them are very interesting potential facts. So it would be, we should...
Potential facts. I love it. There's too many potential facts in the world today.
Well, we have some potential facts on this show. Thanks for listening.
Disclaimer, I'm not suggesting any of this is true. I just think it's funny anecdotal stuff. And listener at home, go see what you can find out about this and give us a call on the next show. Let us know
what could
find.
possibly go wrong with sharing information that's potentially true or potentially untrue?
Everybody's doing it these days.
Yeah, and when it's as benign as how Malbec got its name, I don't think it matters that much.
Huge.
Oh God.
Shake the earth to its core. I just think it's very, like, between listening to the two of you though, I just think it's so interesting that Malbec was like decidedly a not beloved wine in France and Europe, and if the story is true and it was Malbouche and it was bad, just generally like named as not good, and now has been like embraced in Argentina and other parts. I think that's very interesting.
We learned something. We potentially learned some anecdotal fun stuff about Malbec that neither of us
or possibly didn't.
None of us stand behind at all in any way, shape, or form. All right, so we've got our Malbec open here, gentlemen. Go ahead and let's give this thing a smell. See what we're getting.
Tastes like wine.
I like how we have a wide assortment of wine glasses now. We've had a lot of like wine glass evolution happening on this show. I'm proud of us.
We've really raised our glass game.
I'm just tired of breaking my nice wine glasses, so I went out and bought a dollar store red wine glass.
That's a dollar store, and that looks nice.
Yeah, I know. It looks pretty nice for $1, right?
Yeah. What else do you want from a wine glass?
That's what I'm saying.
All right, Colin, what are you getting from this wine?
Yeah, so this is a really pretty smelling wine. Like, that's the first thing I thought when I smelled this. And I'm
first thing you told me about myself too.
God.
I don't know how to react to that, so I'm just gonna go into the smells. But you do get a lot of that plum for sure. You get a lot of that. Do you guys really want me to go first? Because usually it's like, oh, Colin said all the words.
Just show a little restraint, Colin. Like, just name, I don't know, like 8 smells instead of 32.
Okay. All right. So definitely getting some of that plum, and then also some of that tobacco for sure. And then maybe even a little cocoa, like unsweet cocoa.
Ooh.
I'll leave the rest of the fruit notes up to you guys.
Ooh, can I not go fruit note?
Hit it, Aaron.
Yeah.
I'm getting a little bit of the spicy kind of, smells that we've talked about in the past. That maybe like a little cinnamony kind of stuff going on, or vanilla-esque.
Yeah, some baking spices. I like to, when you get enough of those, I like to combine that into like the general baking spice category.
Yeah, my baking spice rack of smells is
that's right,
shooting from this. Yeah, totally.
The only other thing I would call out is like leathery, but like good. Like I feel like I'm sticking my nose in like a nice new leather shoe. You know what I mean?
You're sticking your nose in one of my shoes, really breathing that in.
Yeah. A clean, like never used one, Aaron.
I have really nice smelling feet.
Okay, Colin.
I also do get quite a bit of that black cherry. So plum and black cherry are probably the two fruit notes that I get the most of. It's definitely it's a really dark cherry though.
You guys hit it. I was the spices. I don't think there's anything to add. I'm just like, it's hitting me now. I'm looking past the leather and it's like, vanilla baby, lots of vanilla.
Yeah, and almost like a tobacco-y kind of note too. Like, and maybe that might be like the baking spices with the leather, and it might just all kind of. I think we're all in the same vein here.
Great.
You can call it as you will, but I hope this tastes as good as it smells, because if that is the case, we are in for an absolute treat.
I'm excited to try this thing. I'm gonna switch it up. Aaron, what do you got?
The hesitation of doubt that you just presented to me was
I couldn't think of what I wanted to say.
Aaron, fuck, did I call Aaron? No, I think a lot of what we were getting on the nose is just equally representative on the taste. It's not like there's something jarringly different. I got a lot of that plum, blackberry kind of the taste to it. The vanilla is really like noticeable to me. I feel like
I'm getting a little more cherry than I thought I would. I kind of had to search in it for when we were smelling it. Drinking it, it's a little bit more present, not in a bad way. Like it's not, taking me away from anything. It's just definitely getting it more than I thought I would. Colin?
Yeah, for sure. No, I'm getting that cherry, definitely that plum, the dark plum. And then, but you definitely get those secondary notes, call it leather or tobacco, the baking spices. It's not I wouldn't say those take over the fruit, but they're almost on par with the fruit, which some people like, some people don't. Some people like a more fruit-forward wine. I would say the secondary flavors are definitely as intense as the fruit flavors. It's just something to keep in mind, just personal preference on that.
I'm trying to decide if I think it's like, I know that it's seen some oak, but I don't find it very oaky, but weirdly it like feels like it's been in oak, but it's not oak heavy while drinking it. And I think I like that. I think I've said before, maybe I just like oak. I don't know. But I think I've always, I don't like oak, but I'm really enjoying this. So I don't know. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I feel like it's not really heavily oaky flavor.
No, there's definitely some of the oak influence. This is absolutely aged in oak. There's no doubt about that. And that's where you get a lot of those secondary flavors from. You can get some of those from the grape, but also a lot of those you get from the barrels. So you're definitely experiencing that. But you're right. It's not overwhelming. It doesn't feel like it's fake.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you get that fake oak, like they're trying to just shove the oak flavor in there. This oak is really well integrated.
It's not like oak additional flavoring, like the McDonald's bacon, it has bacon flavoring. It's like this actually legitimately been exposed to oak and has embraced like that oak flavoring to it. But didn't we talk about that at one point, like that, like there's some wines that's like the oak flavoring is artificially added to the wine?
For sure. 100%.
Very icky concept.
Wait,
to think
so
about.
Help me understand though, just so I know for my own education, on the oak scale, low flavor wise?
No, probably medium oaky.
Yeah, I might like,
because you do get a lot of that. Yeah, you get quite a bit of that oak influence, because that's where a lot of those tobacco and leather flavors come from, is the oak itself. So you can tell this one's been oaked. There's no doubt, absolutely no doubt. Which again, for Malbec itself, is not surprising. Most Malbecs are oaked, so you would absolutely expect that. But they just did a really good job of integrating the oak and the fruit flavors. I would say, as far as structure is concerned, it's probably 13.5% alcohol. It feels pretty medium. It doesn't feel too aggressive on the palate, but it's also by no means light. You're drinking a wine. Yes, Aaron?
Well, no, I was about to ask about how you feel about it, because I don't want to say the wrong thing, but how do you feel about like the body and like tannin of this compared to some of the other red wines that we've had?
Yeah, so the tannin is actually, so it's probably medium plus tannin, but it feels really nice. Like the tannin is...
It's not as grippy as some of the other wines we've had, right? I'm not making that up?
Yeah, no, for sure. You're 100% correct about that.
I was like hesitatingly entering that question, because I was like, I don't think this is as grippy as other wines, but...
So you can still feel the tannin, which is why I said medium plus, because it's probably is a little bit more than medium, but like it's very, very nice on the palate. They just kind of coat the palate. They're there, but they're not grippy. They're not abrasive. I think silky is a really nice word for them. They just kind of flow, which is really nice. Probably medium plus acid too. I think a really well-balanced sip.
I'm getting like, it doesn't seem super, just on the acid, like it doesn't seem super acidic, but then I tell you, it's getting my mouth going.
Oh, for sure. 100%. Yeah, you can definitely tell it's there. But I think, like I mentioned, like all of the components work really well together. Like the alcohol doesn't stick out. The tannin and the acid kind of are balanced. There's not one that really takes over. It's really well put together wine.
Yeah, and I would say like I want to eat something with this. Like I would say, like as I'm like drinking this and I'm thinking about just kind of like the real like moderate level of a lot of the places where this is living structure wise, and it's like there's a good flavor, but nothing's like super overbearing. There's a good body to it. It's good tannin, but it's not too grippy. I would have this with a pasta dish or a steak, some kind of big meal. I would be really stoked to have this with.
Yeah, give me some prime rib.
Yeah,
that's what I want with this. I want a nice cut of prime rib. That'd be awesome. But yeah, this is a great food wine.
Absolutely.
Because of the tannin and the acid and everything like that. I think a steak would be a great pair on it.
Yeah, it's like a good flavor, but it's not overbearing, and it's not going to really mess up your palate or really impact the taste of the food. It's just going to complement it really well.
This would be a great compliment. This is one of those wines that would probably enhance the flavor of a nice steak. You would find that you'd probably enjoy a bite of a nice piece of meat, and this wine together in one bite would be a really harmonious bite.
All right. So anybody else? I totally agree with everything you guys are saying. Anything else anybody wants to call out? All right. I think we've hit everything that we can about the notes of this wine. I think it's time for the review.
Yeah, but did they like it? It's time for the review.
All right. Well, we're all pretty complimentary about this so far, but I do want to hear where you guys are going to place this wine. I'm going to flip a coin right now. Heads, Colin goes first. Tails, Aaron goes first. I am really doing this. Listener at home, the suspense is wild. Heads, Colin, give us your review.
Just another piece of fantastic audio. So I like this quite a bit. I think it's really well balanced. I think as far as the quality is concerned, I think it's a pretty good quality wine. You get some of the fruit flavors, you get some of the secondary flavors, and they all meld really well together. I will say this is definitely a wine that you need to let aerate for a little bit. You definitely want to take the cork out of this guy and let it sit, because when I first opened it, I was a little bit worried, but as it's sat out for a little bit, it's really come into itself. And I think you could let this guy go for a couple of hours, honestly. I don't think there's any amount of time within reason. You don't want to leave it out for a week, but if you're going to drink it that night, just pop it earlier in the day and you can leave this one out for a while. And I think the more air this one sees, the better. But overall, I think this blows the layer cake just out of the water for $5 more. It's not even
what.
Yeah,
it's not even it's not even. You're not even playing the same game, really. So I would put this one squarely on the kitchen table. It's a good wine. It's really enjoyable. I think it would be a great food wine. If you're having people over for a steak, absolutely pull this one out. The only knock I will say against it is, I think the flavor and the finish, while you do get some finish, the flavors kind of go away pretty quick. I like a little bit more finish on a wine, and it's not like they disappear immediately, like last week where you just had a tiny flavor and then they disappeared. These do stick around for a little bit of time, but it's not like I'm not still tasting it now. But again, it really well put together wine, squarely on the kitchen table. Would recommend.
Aaron?
Yeah, I'm with Colin on this one. I think, I've been playing a lot with the idea of getting one of those nice, weird looking glass decanters that you see a lot online, where you can really pour your wine out ahead of time when you're serving it. And I think honestly, with the color of this wine and the flavor of this wine, the idea of letting it air out for a while, this would be a really cool one to present in that way. As far as the quality of the wine itself, I'm with Colin. I think it's a decent enough wine. I'd put it on my kitchen table. It's tasty. It's, I think, a good example of a Malbec that doesn't set you back too much, and folks who like this style of wine are going to enjoy. If we talk again in comparisons the other wines that we have been excited about at a similar price point, though, I am going to say the Côte d'Aron and the Rioja that we had, both being deeper red wines, they still in my mind are the tier above and are a couple bucks less each. So when I'm putting things in my head and I still have my go-to red wines I'm grabbing, I'm still going to that Côte d'Aron first. I'm still going to that Rioja first. But I think this is a pretty good kitchen table wine if you see it, especially if you're really looking for a Malbec and your choice is this or the layer cake. This ekes out the layer cake by a couple 100 miles. Agreed.
That's the thing that blows my mind. Blows my mind. $5 margin, and this wine is really good as compared to. I know let this be the last time we even reference the layer cake, but I think it's only fitting in this one, right? We're doing a Malbec, and that's the last.
Let it die.
We're not talking about it again, but it's just for the sake of comparison. I mean, it truly blows my mind, and this is a well-crafted wine. There's some love in this wine. There's some care. I really, really enjoyed this. I mean, I wasn't super excited about a Malbec. It's not one that I have in my rotation heavily, but I feel like this might change that a little bit. I really, really enjoy this wine. Solidly on the front of the kitchen table. Very much enjoy. We have been talking a lot about what we would pair it with, which I think is great. And 100% would go great with a lot of things. But honestly, I'm just sitting here enjoying this as it is, too.
For sure.
It's very versatile in that way.
100%.
Very enjoyable. I don't know what else I could ask for in a Malbec as far as my world of Malbecs go. I'm sure something out there will expand it a little bit, but for me, this is everything I could look for right now. So really, really quite happy with this one. So I think it goes without saying, not a waste of your wine. The Catena Malbec 2020. Go on out and give this one a shot, especially if you are not very versed in the Malbec world. If it's something new to you, this would not be a waste of your wine. Give it a shot. All right. Well, listen, another just wonderful, wonderful time together with you two. And thank you again to all those listeners out there that are enjoying along with us. You know what? This is my episode. I am going to just let Aaron do it. Colin.
Okay. He doesn't get to do it that often, and he's really the one in charge of it. So let's
it's the one that does it.
Let's give him a shot,
All right, Air Bear, tell listeners at home how they can reach out to us.
We just really appreciate everyone that's been engaging with us, checking out our website at stopwastingyourwine.com. We put all of our information up on there of things we talk about, so you can kind of be reminded of the wines that you should grab or not grab. We get a ton of engagement on Instagram. It's a lot of fun. A lot of great folks out there. Shout out to the Wine Sergeant, who like always reposts our stuff whenever we put it up. Really appreciate that support. And follow, hop over to our Facebook group, Stop Wasting Your Wine, if you want to engage with Colin.
Really wants it to work.
And, it doesn't have to be a thing. It's fine.
But thank you all so much. Follow, subscribe. Just keep listening. And thank you all so much. We love you all.
I just poured more of this wine. Sometimes at this point, I'm capping it off and I'm putting it up on the counter. I just poured some while you were talking, and I'm going to enjoy a little bit more of this.
I'm going to keep drinking.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
We're going to keep drinking. You guys, thanks again. See you next time. As always, stop wasting your wine.
Bye.
Bye, all.